Hey, what's happening, guys? Nordic Warrior here, back with a post-fight review. So, man, I just got done watching Kell Brook versus Amir Khan. Kell Brook beats the absolute dog shit out of Amir Khan, dominates him from the opening bell, and forces the referee Victor Lachlan to stop the fight in the fifth round. Do you know, in a way, that was kind of satisfying to watch, because I've got to be honest with you guys, Amir Khan is a guy who, whereas I like him as a fighter, as a person, he's always rubbed me up the wrong way, especially taking into consideration the way that he treated Kell Brook. It's a fight that, of course, we wanted to see for years, us boxing fans, and Amir Khan was always the common denominator for why the fight didn't happen. You know, he was always making Brook jump through hoops. You know, you got to win a world title, you got to fight in America, you do this, that, and the other. And yeah, he was always putting off the fight. So that always kind of rubbed me up the wrong way. So to see Brook not only win the fight, but beat Khan into submission like that was quite impressive. But I have to say, I have a theory on why I think this happened. Now, those of you who saw the weigh-in will know that after the weigh-in, after Kell Brook came off the scales, you know, looking a little bit dry, a little bit, you know, pumped up, his trainer, Dominic Ingle, came up to him and he handed him something. He handed him a bottle of Iron Brew. And Kell Brook drank that Iron Brew, obviously being very thirsty, having made weight. And I think he realised, hang on a second, this isn't Iron Brew. This is Diet Iron Brew. And I think that really pissed Kell Brook off, because let's be honest, it would piss anybody off. And I think that was on his mind ever since the weigh-in. And I think he decided, you know what, I'm going to take all my anger out on Amir Khan. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. That Diet Iron Brew got Kell Brook so wound up and so pissed off that he just had to punish this boy. And from the opening bell, I actually felt, and this is what actually surprised me, I wasn't expecting this, was from the opening bell, Brook didn't look to me like he was looking for the knockout. Like, I was expecting Brook, okay, you know, he'll maybe wait for a couple of rounds, then he'll start letting his hands go and start trying to catch Khan. When Khan throws those combinations, which are fast and explosive but quite sloppy, Brook would try and time him, he would try and land an uppercut or an overhand right or something. Or maybe the left hook, which is something that Khan has been vulnerable to in the past. But what Brook was doing in there, in my opinion, was he wasn't really throwing power shots. He was actually trying to keep Amir Khan in the fight. And what I noticed was, at the end of the rounds, he would hit Khan, and he would have Khan in a position where he's about to go down. And then Brook would just stop. He would stop throwing punches. And he wasn't really putting full power on his shots. And I think that's because Brook wanted to punish Khan. You know, he didn't just want to beat him. He wanted to beat him into submission. He wanted Khan to quit. You know, I think he was hoping to really, really embarrass Khan and make it a one-sided fight and punish him for all the years of ducking and all the years of insults and ridicule. Because, again, look, these guys have got history. They really don't like each other. And Brook has been pretty obsessed with Khan. Let's be honest, he has. He's been obsessed with this fight for years. And he basically, for a while, planned his whole career around Amir Khan. And I think that was why the fight went as long as it did, because Khan, if I'm being perfectly honest, he's always been a relatively chinny fighter, and he's always been a bit sloppy. But in this fight, he looked atrocious. Like, I was surprised by how clumsy Amir Khan was. Like, in the first round, Khan wasted so much energy just throwing combinations with no tact. And not really targeting them at all, just going ba-ba, ba-ba, trying to catch Brook with something. And there was even moments in there where Khan would square up, which is something he doesn't normally do. Khan's a guy who's usually quite fluid and quite light on his feet. But there wasn't really much of a jab from Khan. He was just squaring up and throwing two-handed combos, occasionally throwing like a slappy left hook. And it was just so clear from the opening round that Brook was going to win the fight. I was thinking this fight might not even go 3 rounds, because Brook was being patient. You know, he was picking his shots, he was stalking, he was holding the centre of the ring. And Khan, to me, just looked so clumsy. I'm like, what are you doing? if I was advising Khan, I really have to think, what was Bomac teaching Khan? What did he learn from sparring with Terence Crawford or training with Terence Crawford and whatnot? Because all Bomac was saying to Khan from the corner was, you gotta be first, you gotta be first. And there was no tactical advice. Khan wasn't planning to go to the later rounds, and Khan just wasn't I don't really think he went in there with a good game plan. I think he thought, I'll just be faster, try and explode on Brook early, and I'll get him out of there. You know, he probably thought that Brook was too fragile at this stage of his career with the weight cut and all that. So, very, very bizarre performance from Amir Khan. Really poor. And his team have a lot to answer for. Don't get me wrong, I was rooting for Kell Brook. You guys know that, but I mean, just as a boxing purist, I thought it was very, very clumsy from Amir Khan fighting the way he did, and very, very good performance by Brook. If he chooses to retire now, look, he's the governor as far as he's concerned. This was his rivalry, and yeah, it'll be a good way to end his career. But if he wants to continue, if he wants to stay at welterweight, obviously there's the Josh Taylor Catterall winner. But as I've been saying for years, I would rather see Kell Brook at 154. I think that's always been his best division. So we'll see what happens. Good luck to both guys. I think Khan should retire. He took a horrible beating in that fight, and it's not the first time either. So yeah, very good performance from Brook. That's pretty much all I've got to say. I may do an updated video at some point, but yeah, I enjoyed it, man. That was a good fight to watch. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. God bless.